Hello, everybody. Welcome to this late episode of Lost Like Mike. I am your host, Mike Gonzalez. It's the middle of the week, y'all, and I completely missed the episode on Sunday. So there was a death in the family, and my aunt passed away, and it's kind of I don't know how to really go about talking about it. So a couple months ago, I said that I was going to do yard work at her house. For a long time, she's been dealing with ailments and things, and to be completely honest, it wasn't even something that they were really wanting. It was not a big deal to do, but to me, it was. There's a history I have with that yard, and I tried to explain this to my cousin. It was a couple of years. It was quite a few years ago. And all right, there's this house, and in the back there's this large kind of like a garage unit. It was built way back. I mean, I think there was a concrete slab in front of it that has like my dad and my uncle would rehearse music there, and they put the slab, like in the 60s, they put this slab with their names on it. But anyway, this kind of garage type of standalone building has always been used for music all through my life. But with the bands that I've been with, we've always rehearsed there. We've always, my father and his band rehearsed there over the years. We grew up playing there in the summers, but we decided, I guess, in about 10 years ago, maybe, give or take, to convert it into a recording studio. Like nothing crazy major, just a couple of separated rooms for drums, and we invested our time and energy and our money into making it the studio. But there was a lot of DIY projects that we did, and one of them was that I painted the exterior of the building. And I remember my aunt came out and was paying me all these compliments on, she admired that I was working hard and that I was doing a good job and all this kind of stuff. And like, you just have to realize, I know myself to the extent that I really respond to, we've talked about that on previous episodes where, we stole that from some show of how I needed a button to say, attaboy, attaboy, because I really, I feed off of that appreciation, right? And it dates back like, when I was 16, maybe 15, 16, I stayed a couple of nights at my aunt's house. It was another aunt that was staying at that same house. And I recently had my heart broken really bad. I mean, as bad as you can have a heart broken at 15, 16. But my first love, right? I mean, I won't get into the whole Notebook-esque storyline, but bottom line was, I was really hurting something fierce, and there was this yard, and it needed mowing, and I was angry and I was hurting, and I just went out and I started mowing this double yard. It's just this huge, long, it was 2 plots, right? It's just giant. So I don't know if it's like maybe not a full acre, but anyway. And there was something very therapeutic about it, and I just tore it up and was doing this yard by myself. So I really wanted to do it. It was just something personal. So in my mind, I had equated it to after I found out that she passed away, I felt like, well, I said I was going to do something, and then I didn't do it, and I need to do it, and it's symbolic of all these different things to me. And so I really wanted to do it. So I called my son. My son does all that landscaping and stuff, and I asked him if he wanted to tag along. And a side note of that story, and it's kind of like something that I don't want to get too far off track, but I had talked about in a previous episode that I cleared out this closet of all these toys and memorabilia from, well, really just mainly toys, from the time that my son spent. I have shared custody, but it was reduced to, a few hours on Sundays. And so a lot of it was accumulated, and he never played with it, but needless to say, it was like these 5 big trunks of like toys and stuff that we needed to go through. I didn't want to just unilaterally decide to give away things that maybe he wanted to keep for his kids that he's going to have in 20 years, because he's too young for kids. And I've lost my drink, by the way. Anyway, so a previous episode I talked about this, so I'm not going to go into all that. I had it all in this big boxes, and we'll get into why I feel like incredibly overwhelmed with where everything is right now. But I wanted to commit to getting the stuff over to him. The intention, number one, was to sit down and go through the boxes, say yay or nay on this given toy. Like I knew that he wasn't going to want everything, but given that my aunt passed away and that it threw a little bit of a wrench in the process, I said, well, you know what? I'm going to take this stuff, son. I'm going to bring it over to your house. We're just going to put it neatly in a corner in these nice sealed tubs and trunks that, they're all weather safe, and they're all, they're not messily thrown together. I really packed everything neatly. And we'll just put it in a corner. I'll come visit you at another time. We'll go through it together, and we'll do a Goodwill pile and a trash pile, and then have like whatever's left. You can keep it like for your kids or for whatever, for nostalgia's sake or what have you. And And he agreed, no problem. So that was the plan. It was a call to audible. We weren't going to hang out as much. We were going to go and do the yard work. But, anyway. So I show up to, he's living with his mother. He's 18, but he still lives with his mom. And I bring one box down because I have all my lawn equipment in the car, right? Lawnmowers, all this, weed whacker, the whole bit. And then the boxes I have in the back seat of this SUV and in the front seat of the SUV. It's just packed like a sardine, man, but I got it all in there. And I get the one box out of the front seat because the intention is to take my son with me if at all possible. And she comes out of the house and is like, real, just like, what the F are you doing? What's all that? And I'm like, I tell her it's the story, it's his stuff. And my thinking is, because, my weekends are jam-packed, man. After I do the yard work, I have to run home, take a shower, and then I'm hauling it to the show, right? Because I have to play for 4 hours every Saturday, every Sunday. And I already didn't go to church so that I could go do this in honor of my aunt. So my intention was to unload quick, move it real neatly, put it in there, and let vámonos, let's go. And so there I am, and she says, no, you're not leaving that stuff here. She's like, I take care of the boy, will you take care of his stuff? And I'm like, come on, man. And I said, let's negotiate, right? And you have to understand there's a power to negotiation. If somebody is approaching you wanting something, right? If I want something from you, then all the power is in your hands. And you have to, or you really should, take advantage of that. Acknowledge it and figure out how to leverage that into something that is beneficial for you. Don't just deny it out the gate and call it a day. I just don't understand the logic. If somebody comes to me and says, hey, I really need your help doing something, I'm willing to negotiate. I'll do something for you. I'll owe you whatever. I mean, I play that little scenario in my own head, and I'm already like, you know what? Whatever you need, let's take care of you. Already in my mind, I'm thinking that. But this person, my son's mom, I'm telling her, let's negotiate. I really need this to happen. So what? She says, well, there's these other things. And the problem is that my son, there was like this metal bed frame. It's like antique-y, and other items that he had gotten from different, he would help people clear out junk pickup and stuff like that. But there's items that he would turn up, and one time we were able to turn around these items and make a profit on them. So he started wanting to keep everything under that same sentiment. And the thing of it is that he's stockpiled some of it now. So in all fairness to his mother, I'm trying to be, full disclosure. But I said, okay, listen, like, let's negotiate. I said, I know that has all this sort of bulky stuff that he wants to sell. I said, I'll take that stuff right now, some of it, and I'll start to try to sell it. So that, it'll be like we could remove a little bit and then put this here. And I said, and I'm coming back to, to purge this, and we're going to go through it and get rid of a lot of this too. So, but at least this way, like, And then she was like, she just had this, she chose to just revel in the upper hand for that moment. And then she just said, no, you're not leaving that stuff here, and turned around and walked away. And I am not a beggar, and I will not chase after you. And, I guess maybe that's pride or whatever it is, but I just started reloading the stuff in the car, and I told my son, I don't got time to discuss this. I don't have time to negotiate further. It is what it is. But I said, and it occurred to me, I said out loud to nobody, but my willingness to do something for somebody is, in my opinion, very valuable. If you need something, I'm there for you, right? And for somebody to burn that bridge, just where it would have been nothing to help me out. But it also speaks to where there's a will, there's a way, because I had a hard time driving to his house because there was so much stuff in the car. I couldn't see out of my side mirrors. But I just rotated everything and somehow, Tetrised it up, and I was able to see, and I got, and then he ended up taking his truck, so we could get rid of some of the wood and get it out of there, out of the yard. But yeah, I'm a grown ass man. I could take a no. You could tell me no, and I'm not going to be whatever. But I think that it's just the notion that I'm so willing to go out of my way, that when somebody blatantly just denies me, it's especially somebody who's wanting help, right? Like they have this garage that's full of junk and of stuff, and I had already talked about tentatively going over there and cleaning it out for them and organizing it, working on their backyard and doing different projects. And it's disappointing, to say the least, Anyway, but he ended up meeting me out there, and I was very impressed with the way that he handled himself doing the yard work. He showed that he's been working at it, and he's been doing it, all summer and all last year. And we worked for several hours, as long as we possibly could, before we had to leave. And I was just beat up by the time I got to my show. My lower back was like hurting, and I was going down the stairs, and I parked the car, and I'm going down the stairs, and like somebody pooped at the bottom of the stairs at the parking garage. I think there was like I'm not going to get into detail, but I was having to play like hopscotch, like on the stairs, trying to get down, and like something told me to get off my phone. I'm going downstairs, so maybe that was what initially my, hey, stop looking at your phone, brilliant idea was. But had I not listened to myself, I probably would have, yeah. Anyway, gosh, we're pretty far into the podcast. I haven't even thanked anybody for listening. I appreciate it. The messages I get at lostlikemike@gmail.com. it's so much of my game has been thrown off by just being tired and being pushing myself. Um, on Monday night, I was playing a show. We play every other Monday. I perform, and I'm in the middle of the show, and it's I guess since it's football season or whatever, but there was a couple concerts downtown. Whatever the reason was, it was packed, and everybody was there. I mean, in classic football season, everybody's just watching the game. But I said something about, I know it's Thursday, but it really feels like the weekend. And then like they lean over and they're like, no, dude, it's Monday. Like, I've just been so off. I've been just space cadet trying to sort it out. I honestly don't remember what I talked about last podcast, whether I talked about I know I bitched a lot because I was thinking like that was the closest thing to ranting that I've done on the show. But I'm not sure that I've talked about some recent purchases that I've made. But I'll give it just a real quick recap. In case I've said all this before, I apologize. But I've gotten in this weird habit, not a habit, but this trend where I've been searching through sales pages, and I think what it was is that I got such a kick-ass deal on that first guitar that I had this little rush, this like where you get those endorphins firing because like you got a really great deal and you feel really good about yourself and all this, right? But now my studio, my room where I do all my stuff is so jam-packed full of things. Just things, man. And I get it. Some of it I'm going to use. But I've got like a Pelican gun case. I don't have a gun. I bought it because the guy wanted like, if you ever go to a garage sale and they make a face like, I don't know. And then they do this hand gesture and make a face. I don't, it 9 out of 10 they're gonna say a stupidly low number, and you have to buy it. I asked him how much he wanted for the case. The case is probably like, $150 case, or at the used the way it is, maybe $100 case, maybe $80. And he was like, I don't know. He had just said to this lady $10 for these blankets and sheets. So I was like, well, how about this? How about this, man? And he was like, I don't know, $10. And I was like, sold. And I could tell that he was in the mode of doing that because I handed him a 20 and he just took the 20. And I was like, well, you said it was 10. I mean, I'm not trying to be whatever. Because I already knew that he already had retreated from that. And he was like, oh, I messed up, whatever. But anyway, so I bought it for $10, and I'll probably sell it for, I'm not trying to make crazy money off of it. I wanted that little high. So I'll probably sell it for, $15, $20, get my money back and feel good. But I think I talked to y'all about I bought like 3 or 4 guitar amps for very little. They were all supposed to be broken, and I got them all working, shiny, and they look brand new. So it's probably like, I don't know if I'll sell all of them, but it just, that stupid endorphin rush. Anyway, and I bought a drum set. I mean, what's wrong with me? I got like 2 drum sets in this room, amplifiers, a giant row machine there's like a $700 row machine that I got for $100. It's a sickness, I think, where maybe I'm filling a hole or whatever, or I'm chasing away like maybe I'm distracting myself. I'll tell you one thing though. I bought this drum set, and I might have talked about it on the previous podcast, but I got a very good deal on the drum set. But they were super dirty. Just lived in, played with by children. I mean, and every night I would just sit there and I'd take apart the drum. It has all these little, things, tension screws. And for whatever reason, I have a drum key here at the house. I don't know why. I don't know where, but I thought about getting something else out of this one container, and I had already fashioned a drum. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But there I am sitting there taking the drum apart, YouTubing like different cleaning techniques and things. Like, I don't know if you knew this, but you can use WD-40 and aluminum foil to clean rust and get it off. Whatever. It works. But I would spend an hour and a half at the end of the night just cleaning one drum. And I did it all week, and there's something oddly satisfying. Like, you watch those videos and people are taking their time to restore something. I didn't get it, but I'm telling you, like, and they sparkle, they look beautiful. Like, it's probably 4 times the value of what I spent on it, just out of. And then if I put brand new skins and hardware, I mean, replace the hardware that's needed, shoot, 5 times, 6 times the amount. Anyway, but yeah, very therapeutic, just sitting there shining and restoring. Underrated, man. I mean, it's a lot of fun. And then I bought a guitar, and it turned out the guitar was worth way more than what I bought. I thought I paid, what the guitar was worth, or like right under. And then it turned out that it was a special version of that brand. And so it was worth like 3 times the amount that I paid for it. Not that I would sell it. It's weird. If you ever play the guitar, or if you're a musician, it's called being set up. Like there's, I don't want to get, anyway, there's something called the action, where like the strings are sitting just perfect over the neck. And so it feels real close, but it's not buzzing. It's just set up. That's what they call it. Where the action means how good the string is away from the neck. Anyway, it feels so much more set up and professionally set up than, although I kind of like the one that I got. Somebody was asking me if I wanted Gentleman Jack whiskey versus just Jack Daniels, and although Gentleman Jack is delicious, which, anyway, I'm a simple guy. You could just, Jack Daniels is fine. It's like the country song goes, I don't drink because I'm thirsty. I'm not trying to get, flavorful, whatever. Anyway, I'm in the middle of the week recording this episode, and I apologize for coming in late. They say that one of the keys to podcasts is consistency, and in terms of like publishing the episode on a timely manner. Like, if you say you're going to have it out on Sundays, have it out on Sundays, that kind of thing. And I feel bad, but part of it was I had no choice in the matter. I made the call rather quickly that I was going to do that. And um, so it is what it is. Um, Anyway, I just can't even move around the room. I can't function. I keep tripping on things. I was trying to set up the lighting, and I was like, so I've made a decision that I'm going to, if I don't sell these items, a certain set of these items, I have to put the brakes on just buying stuff, because I think it's become like an illness or a sickness. Like, like Julie already says, I can't bring any more stuff. I keep bringing stuff into the house. I get it. I mean, I know where she's coming from. But I do think also, I think if you enjoy something, like I enjoy turning it around. I enjoy like finding items and selling them again or whatever. So I've revisited the idea of doing storage auctions, and I just would get beat up by Julie if she even, like, I told her the other day, I called her and said, hey, what would you say if I bid on a storage unit? You know, I don't know where I put the stuff. That's ultimately what it boils down to, you know. So I was asked to sing at the funeral. Maybe as listeners, you can help me wrap my mind around this idea. I feel, and I'll explain my position first. I feel I'm a singer, I'm a performer. But a funeral to me is not a place to perform. I think you're supposed to celebrate that person. It's supposed to be about that other person, right? I just remember seeing my uncle at different funerals, and he'd be singing, doing his thing. It's like, should we clap? Or, you know what I mean? It's just weird vibe. And then further, it's like, well, now it just became about you, and it's supposed to be about this other person. And maybe that's just me overthinking things. I mean, my cousin asked me if I would sing it there. And so, absolutely. But again, I'm just trying to reconcile the feelings part of it. Like, okay, I know I'm a singer. So when my brother died, he died right before COVID really full on hit. So my mom, we couldn't even have the funeral because she was quarantined. We're all quarantined, and if my mom couldn't go to the funeral, then I thought there was no point in even having one. We said we're going to revisit it in the future, which, you know, you don't know how that all played out in terms of, like, at this point, I'm really wanting to I'm going to set up a scholarship for aspiring filmmakers in his name. I know that he loved movies, he loved cinema, and I think that he'd be happy to know that his legacy involved, you know, helping future filmmakers make movies. And I don't really think that he would even like funerals. or want people to get together in, you know, I think that he would probably like, you know, he would just like to know that something was being done and that was continuing something that he loved. So anyway, I digress. I don't mean to get off track, which I certainly just did. But the thing was, there was a song that I still sing it to this day, and I think of him, and when I sing the song, all the emotion that I put in the song or anything that I'm expressing in the song is is kind of channeling that grief or that sadness for him not being around anymore. And one time we were at a show, we were performing at a private party of these family members. They're not our family. It was post-COVID, and we're kind of towards the end of the pandemic, where people were having parties at their houses, and I remember they would set up chairs, and they would be like, I mean, what a world, right? It was just a different time and place. I mean, they would have chairs set up like 6 feet apart, and limited number of people that could come over, and people actually had to drive by the house honking with signs in order to celebrate their birthday. I mean, that true story, that's not even something made up. Like, this really happened in our world, you know, where we were dealing with the same virus that still exists right now, but we didn't know what we're dealing with. But anyway, point we were doing this show at this family's house, and they were making conversation between songs. It was very, you know, VH1 storytellers, or, you know what I mean? If you don't know what that reference is, it's cool. Just means, you know, where you're kind of saying what, like, some background or different things. And they said for me to play a song that I cared about, or like that mattered to me. And I told the story of my brother leaving. He moved to the Valley. So his friends threw him a karaoke party, kind of a send-off. And I had to run. So I came in and I sang him this particular song. And it was really special to me to sing it to him. And so that's what I'm saying. I think for me, it's not singing it at the funeral that did it for me. Like, I do it at every show or wherever I'm at. When I'm performing, I'm thinking of them, and, you know. My dad, it's a different song, but anyway, I'm trying to make it okay for myself to selflessly sing songs at this funeral, because it's just out of my comfort zone. You know, I know it's, as long as my cousins, like, you know, okay. I remember I went to, I'm going to say just I went to an ex's family member's funeral, and my ex at the time said that that it was her wishes for me not to let her go. It's very clear and very adamant. At no time during this funeral, please don't let me go. I'm leaning on you. I'm hanging on to you for comfort and for strength during this time. Please don't, right? And I remember taking the information literally and metaphorically, like, I am here. I am your rock. I am your shoulder to cry on. I'm your strength if you will have it. And physically, my arm is around you, and and I remember post the funeral, her family members criticizing and saying how clingy I was, and how how clingy I was and needy, and how I made the funeral about me, expressing some sort of ownership over this person. And I remember thinking how twisted somebody has to be to contort such a innocent sentiment as comforting somebody, but there it is. Who cares about what people think? I get that too. I'm just saying, I'm just sharing a story, really. That's just something that went down, Anyway, it's going to be a shorter episode today. I just wanted to touch base with everybody, make sure that it was understood that I really didn't mean to miss the episode. I just needed to take care of that, and it was an all-day affair, and I'll get back on schedule on Sundays. But forgive me for being late. And I'll touch base with y'all again on Sunday, okay? Take care.